Liverpool continue their bid for a record-extending 11th Carabao Cup crown. Down in Sussex by the Sea tonight, it is Premier League opposition for the second successive round for Arne Slot and his team. Carabao Cup fourth round, a place in the quarter-finals up for grabs for Brighton and Liverpool. It is a 7:30 kick-off down at the AMEX. Very good evening to you. Welcome along to Matchday Live. We will get the thoughts of David Thompson and Gemma Bonner in just a moment. But let's head to the AMEX first and join Mark Benstead.
Evening, Rob. I'm not too sure if Liverpool have a bogey side, but if they do, it could very well be Brighton. The Reds have won only 2 of the last 9 meetings between the sides in all competitions, and they've not won in the last 3 visits here. Tash Dowie is with me for the latest instalment of this fixture. Evening, Tash.
Evening.
First of all, from a Liverpool point of view, Arne Slot has said probably less changes this time round compared to the last League Cup tie. Why?
Injuries, I think both teams are struggling with injuries, but Liverpool in particular, in all of the units. You know, you look defensively, midfield and strikers, plus Brighton are a very good team, and this is our cup, so we want to progress. So I'm really intrigued to see who Arne Slot goes for today.
Liverpool good on the road so far this season. What do we learn from last weekend, coming from behind a couple of times against a very good Arsenal side?
Absolutely. I think a point away at the Emirates is a great result. I don't think we performed well at all. I think first half we were really poor, and I think actually for us to get anything out of the game was a positive. I think players look tired, so I think there has to be changes today. I would expect the likes of Endo to come in, Szoboszlai, some fresh legs, potentially Gakpo as well, maybe even Kwanzaa. So I think we've got enough quality in this team, and we've seen it, that when Arne Slot does bring players in, they can slot in quite comfortably.
Brighton have been consistently good under a series of managers. What has made them effective so far this season in your eyes?
I mean, so good. I think what Brighton do every year is that they don't have the biggest budget, but the players that they bring in, it fits into their philosophy. The new manager's coming as well. I love his energy. I love what he's about. Youngest manager in the Premier League. And he gets the best out of his players. He develops players. And do you know what? For me, it's a breath of fresh air to see the likes of Danny Welbeck, someone that potentially has struggled in the past as well. Hasn't been a double-figure striker in his past, but already 6 goals. I think his record is 9. So he's someone that Liverpool have to be aware of if he does play today. And Ferguson as well, scored last game against Wolves. He's a handful.
What I was going to say is that one of the decisions they have to make, what they do at the top end of the field. Do they give Welbeck a bit of time out of the limelight and give Ferguson a run? Yeah,
it's a great question. I think Brighton are in good form as well in the Premier League, and I think they want to keep winning games. They want to keep building momentum. I think both teams will play a strong side today.
Does it help Brighton knowing they've had results, especially here against Liverpool as they come into tonight?
Absolutely, 100%. I think Liverpool are one of the best teams in the world. The manager's already said that. They know they're coming up against a good team, whoever plays today. But I think the home form of Brighton, Liverpool haven't beat them, like you said rightly, in their last 3 appearances here. That definitely is something that Liverpool want to change, but Brighton, that'll give them lots of confidence going into this game. With the crowd behind them, I think there's meant to be maybe 28,000-30,000 here tonight.
Was this in some ways the fixture we kind of didn't want? Because it's a bit of a thankless task. You come into a Premier League side away from home, middle of the week, and against a Premier League side that is very good. Yeah,
you're just spot on. I think being away in London against Arsenal, then having to travel back down again, that's going to take its toll. 1 less day recovery, all these things. And I think probably that's where you want to have the squad, which maybe right now we don't. But the players are experienced enough. I believe we've got more quality than Brighton. I think it's going to be a tight game, but I think Liverpool can get it over the line.
As you mentioned, Fabian Hurtzler is the youngest manager in the Premier League, at just, 33 years of age when he took the job. A lot was made of it. Does that impact on a dressing room, or is it irrelevant to a player?
I think it's irrelevant to a player. I think that the manager's been successful. You don't bring a manager in like him if he hasn't obviously had his past success as well. And to come into Brighton, big shoes to fill as well. But I think his youth, his energy, I think it's rubbed off on this Brighton team. You know, I love when I listen to him in the press conferences as well. I think he's a really humble manager, and I think that's exactly what Brighton need.
He has been a good manager so far. Impressive when he got up and running at St. Pauli in his previous job. He won his first 10 matches in charge there. He's only lost once so far here, and ambitions are clear. Look at the front cover of the Matchday programme. It's all about Fabian's Wembley dream. Brighton mean business tonight.
Mark, thank you very much indeed. Brighton mean business. Will Liverpool, sure desperate, as we said, to retain the League Cup for the first time since 1984. Gemma and David are here. A big test passed, David, last week. 3 really tough games, and Liverpool have won 2 and drawn more on the road at Arsenal. That was a really encouraging sign for Arne Slot at the start of this difficult period.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a lot of calls from the media saying we'd had the easy run, and now this was the difficult test. Came through that with flying colours. Obviously, it was a difficult game at the Emirates the weekend, but to come back from 2 goals down and grab a point there is. It's testament to the side and the character of the side.
Given that it's going well in the Premier League, Gemma, it's going well in the Champions League as well, how much emphasis and importance should Liverpool place on this game and on this competition, given they are the holders?
I think it'll still mean a lot to the group. I think especially for players that do come in tonight and get the opportunity. I think Slot spoke last week about the importance of winning and keeping that momentum going, and I think the players that are coming in, they also want to prove and take the opportunity. So I think, he's not really changed the side too much in terms of the games previously. So the players that are coming in tonight, it's an opportunity for them to go and really put on a performance and give him some selection problems.
That is the great thing, isn't it, about having a good squad of players, and largely he has named a pretty settled side so far, Arne Slot, so there will be a lot of players who we expect to feature tonight. We'll find out in a few minutes as to what the exact team is, but those who have probably been knocking on the door and saying, look, I'm desperate for a game here, I'm desperate to show the new manager what I can do in a game situation.
Yeah, I think a few of the boys must have been a bit frustrated as well that the manager doesn't change it so much. You'd be there wanting to get a chance, but he seems to be pretty rigid in his structure and goes with his tried and trusted. But this is a great opportunity for the young lads and some of the senior pros who've been playing on the outskirts. I think a good opportunity for Gomez and Kwanzaa to come in and really stamp their authority and give the manager what you've just said there, a selection problem for the weekend.
Let's reflect then on that game at the Emirates, Gemma, and as David said, and Arne Slot certainly said it afterwards, that it was a real test of character for his team for one of the first times this season, twice behind, lively atmosphere at the Emirates, and Liverpool fought back on both occasions to get themselves a point.
Yeah, I think it was probably the old cliche, game of 2 halves. I think the first half they weren't really in the game in terms of they had a lot of problems to solve, and I think it was probably the first time that they'd really been tested up to that extent. And I think going in at 1-0, they probably felt like they'd actually not done a bad job considering how the game had gone. But I think coming out the second half, obviously they changed things. For me, they were a lot more aggressive. They changed just tweaked on a few things positionally, and I think to do that against a top side, against Arsenal, I think you almost forget that Slot's a new manager and they're still adapting to the ways of playing, whereas Arsenal have been together for a good few years. They're very fluid in how they play, so it was always going to be a tough challenge, especially off the back of the travel from Leipzig. So I think to come out of it, I think to come out of it with that result and going behind twice, huge credit and character shown, and I think you always know they've got the quality to go and score the goals. And
that was actually one of the points that he made when he spoke to us afterwards, Arne Slot, that he's made it look very easy so far being Liverpool manager, but Mikel Arteta has had 4 more years of training, and he can fall back on plan C, plan D, plan E if he needs to, if he's not getting what he wants from his team in the game, whereas it's still only, couple of months, 3 months that Arne Slot has been working with his players.
Absolutely, and he'll still be, putting the infrastructure in place around the players, the support. If you look at Arsenal in terms of, the video analysis and the in-depth analysis that they go into with individual players, the time that they have with these contact coaches is, it's unbelievable really. But Arne Slot, he's come in, he's trying to stamp his authority on the team, but it was a game of 2 halves on Saturday. I think it was frustrating to watch a little bit at times, but we came through it and on we go.
But you just have to accept, don't you, that in a game like away at the Emirates, you are going to be under the pump for periods of that game.
Oh, absolutely. I was frustrated watching the game, but only because Arsenal was they were superior in that first half. The passing, the speed on the counter-attack, the way that they pushed men forward and affected the balance of play. And we didn't really know what to do. It's the first time this season that I've seen our midfield really pulled and stretched from side to side, and there was gaps in between for players to drop into that space. They were isolating Robbo with Saka, and he got a lot of criticism on Saturday. Robbo, and I felt a little bit sorry for him. He's up against one of the best wingers in the world, and I've not seen many full-backs, you know, do a job on Saka. I think he's a really tough player, really, you know, I think people thought he was going to be a little bit rusty coming back off his injury, but he was just fresh. He was ready to go, and he was on fire that first half. Second half, tired, you know, rightly so, but I think Robbo got a bit of unfair criticism there, particularly what he's done for us over the last 5 years.
But Liverpool still unbeaten away from home. Arne Slot looking to continue that down at the AMEX tonight.
I like their playing style a lot. We have their former manager already and with this one as well. And I think what makes the club Brighton, in my opinion, special is that maybe not the most money in the league when they buy the players, but they always find the right ones. So there's a lot of quality, although also for them the transfer fees go up a bit, but they are not spending 100 million on a player, so they always find the right ones. And so many quality players to pick, and a very good playing style.
Obviously, the cup's a chance to use young players. Sometimes you obviously used a lot of them to go out on loan in the summer to maybe get game time. But when you do get injuries and you're looking at the squad, is that the difficult balance to try and know how many to let go and how many to sort of keep around the building?
Yeah, that is sometimes difficult because in certain situations you would prefer to keep them here because then they can train every day with you and you can implement in the best possible way your playing style. But if that also means that they hardly play, that will normally also lead not to the progression you are hoping for. So that is the balance we always try to find with our players, also with our very talented ones. Then sometimes that means you bring them on a loan. Stefan Bajcetic was a very good example to that. And then you hope to see that he plays a lot, and then you already played a few games. And then it's very pleasing in this particular situation that he went to a very good manager as well with Pepijn Leijnders, that knows this club also. So. And for Ben Doak, it's similar. Also went to a very good manager and to a very good playing style. So it's a balance we need to find. Do we want to play them on a regular basis or once in a while and keep with us? And we have to we have to be aware of our own interests, so we can't let everybody go that doesn't play all the time. And there, Tyler Morton is a good example of that, which is a quality player. Good enough to play everywhere around the league, but is in competition with so many good midfielders over here. But yeah, like you see now we've got 6 forwards, 2 of them are injured, so only 4 left. And with the schedule we have, that's sometimes a bit of a worry for me. So maybe we should bring Ben Doak back.
Endo came off the bench, and I know he started the previous round in this competition. Is this a chance for him to maybe start? And also, when you're making these changes, how do you keep those players that are maybe struggling for minutes happy in the squad?
That last thing is not always easy because they all want to play, and it would be strange for me if they are all happy if they don't play. But they are professionals, they know that these things can happen, and they also see that the players that play in their position do really well. So that is mostly with Wata, but it's also with Joe Gomez and Joao Kwanzaa that are in competition with Ryan, with Ibu and with Virgil. So they understand and they see how well these players play and that they also stay fit till the last minute of the game. But I think Wata is one of the players that might be in the lineup because the season is going to be so long and we will need him during the season. And therefore he needs once in a while playing time as well. He fortunately has this playing time with the national team. But it helps if he once in a while gets a game with us again. And I really liked him against West Ham. And what I admire about him, or what I respect about him, is his personality. Because 2 times he had to come in 5 minutes before the end. And in my managerial career, I sometimes have seen that players, if they come in 5 minutes before the end, they come in with a face like this and play like that. But every time when we need him, even if it's for 5 minutes, he shows up for the team, for his teammates and for himself. So I think he also for that reason he deserves to play tomorrow.
So how many changes has Arne Slot made from that trip to the Emirates on Sunday? Let's get details, I should say, of the Liverpool team from Mark.
Thanks, Rob. Liverpool undefeated in 7 away games so far this season. The most recent of them, that draw at the Emirates at the weekend. But the manager has rung the changes from the game against the Gunners. There are 8 in total. The most noticeable comes in goal. Vidislav Jaros makes his first start for the club. He replaces Kevin Kelleher. The Liverpool team then in full is as follows. It is Vidislav Jaros in goal, then Joe Gomez is in at the back. Wataru Endo comes in for his second start of this season. He played in the last round. Luis Diaz is in from the off, as is Dominic Szoboszlai. Curtis Jones starts, so does Cody Gakpo. Andy Robertson is retained at left back. Jarell Quansah comes in. His last appearance was versus West Ham United in the last round of this competition. There's also a start for Tyler Morton. His last Liverpool start came in the FA Cup against Shrewsbury in January 2022. Conor Bradley is in at right back. The subs: Kelleher, Van Dijk, Kanati, Nunez, McAllister, Salah, Tsimikas. Teenager Renell Young, the winger, is in, and Trey Naoni is also on the bench. Well, Tash is back with me pitch side here at the AMEX. I'm going to start with the choice in goal. Jaros starts. A big opportunity for him, but how big a call by the manager?
Yeah, it's a big call, but I think if you know Liverpool, the philosophy is the youth, the academy, the success that we had. We won this cup through the youth, so I think that you have to have a manager that trusts that, and I think he does. I think we've spoken about the injuries as well, so maybe his arms had to be turned a little bit here, but these players are ready. They wouldn't be getting this opportunity if they haven't proved themselves in training, in pre-season. I've seen Jaros play on the pre-season tour. I was very impressed, so I think he'll do fine today.
Yeah, part of the Czech Republic squad during the Euros as well, although he didn't play. He's 23 years of age, so he's not a kid, so perhaps well equipped to deal with tonight. And given the fact as well, he's had a little taste of it when he came on for Ali at Crystal Palace.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think to give him this chance gives him a lot of confidence. His confidence will be boosted getting that start today. You're a keeper. You know how hard it is to get your opportunity. You want to have that #1 shirt. He knows how hard it is to get that here at Liverpool, but he wants to play, so it's great. And he's got a lot of experience in front of him as well that will help him.
I suppose as well, sometimes cup games throw up these kind of stories where a goalkeeper, a player is thrown in from obscurity and they make the headlines.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope so. Let's absolutely hope so. And I think when you look through the starting lineup as well, I think the likes of Robertson, I don't think had the best of games last game against Arsenal, so potentially giving him a bit more of a run out. It's great to see Renell Young as well on the bench. I'm all for it. Having been involved heavily with the academy over the last couple of years, I know that these young players deserve the chance. Morton as well. It's really exciting.
Speaking of academy, one of the boys who's also come through that pathway is Tyler Morton. Very good spell on loan in the Championship. Has had to wait for opportunities this season. How big a chance is it for him tonight? What do we want to see from him tonight?
Energy. I think a lot of teams wanted to snap him up, to be honest. We're lucky to probably have kept him. Big clubs like Leverkusen were after him. So he's a real talent, and I think he's come through the youth system as well. We know what he's about, but he's going to have to bring energy. I think that's what we missed against Arsenal. I said that. The likes of Curtis Jones, be brave to get on the ball, make sure you get forward. Can he get on the end of things, get a goal for us today? Because this is going to be quite a transitional game, I think, as well against Brighton. They're high energy as well, and you have to be able to bring that, and I think fresh legs is really important.
There's a little bit of guesswork in terms of how the forward line will set up. We work on the basis Cody will be through the middle. Is it maybe Dom off the right? Is he the most logical option?
Yeah, I think potentially, or you could maybe even see Curtis Jones. He's played centre forward through the youth setup as well at Liverpool. So I think that's something that could be quite flexible. It could change throughout the game as well. And I think it's really exciting, to be honest, especially for Gakpo as well. I think he's done so well off the left, especially in the Euros as well, gone. But I also think, with him, he'll play wherever he's put. And I think he's done that in the past, playing in midfield. He can play anywhere along the front three. He needs to get some goals. That's what I want from our front line. I think we rely too heavily on Mo. Now that he's being rested, the others need to start producing.
Thank you, Tasha. That is the detail on the Liverpool side. We'll bring you the Brighton team very shortly.
Mark, thank you very much indeed. Let's have a little look at that Liverpool team. I think the guesswork that was done down at the AMEX, I think we would all agree with it. It probably will be Dominic Szoboszlai off the right with Curtis Jones just behind Gakpo.
We've got a few different options there, but I would like to see, I think it is an opportunity to see Gakpo in that number 9 position. I think it is a position that's been a bit tricky for us this season. Obviously, Nunez plays there the weekend. Jota's struggled there, in my opinion. I think at times this season I've seen him be a little bit frustrated. He doesn't know the position entirely. I think he's stronger coming off the left-hand side, but we've got Diaz there who's on fire scoring goals. So, great opportunity to see Cody in that position tonight.
How does his role change then from playing out on the left-hand side to playing down the middle tonight? How will he have to change his game?
Yeah, I think predominantly with Cody, when he plays on the left, he likes to hug the touchline and isolate defenders 1v1. But I think right across the front line, they're quite interchangeable and they're quite fluid. So I think almost if one goes out wide, the other one will naturally fill in. But I think he can also play with his back to goal in terms of dropping in, linking up, so the two wide players can go.
That's going to be key tonight, I think.
Yeah.
How he gets hold of that ball in that position is going to be key tonight.
I think for him as well, the physical presence, because we might not have the direct, but I think with Cody, he had such a huge physical presence, whether it's in the air or he can get the ball to feet. So I think he'll probably complement whoever it is who plays on the right, but I think it will be quite fluid in terms of who fills what spaces.
Just on Luis Diaz, we were sort of talking off camera there as we heard from Arne Slot that he perhaps sort of felt a little bit frustrated come the end of Sunday because it felt an opportunity for him to really have a pop at Thomas Partey, but Thomas Partey as a makeshift right back did a really good job on him actually.
Oh, absolutely. I think what you need to realise now is there's so much video analysis done on these players now. You know what, especially when you're up against a skillful player, you know exactly what they're going to do. You know them inside out, and I think he played a really good game, Thomas Partey, the weekend, and Diaz was really frustrated. But there's an opportunity where he can get as frustrated out again tonight and maybe get on the score sheet.
The guys down at the AMEX touched on a big night for Vítězslav Jaros making his first Liverpool start. As they said, there has been first-team experience elsewhere on loan. But as a central defender, what are you hoping to hear and see from him in the early moments of his first start tonight?
Yeah, I think they'll have obviously had experience when he came on against Palace. I think after him being on loan last year, he won the league and the cup double, so he's definitely got that experience coming in. They'll be used to training with him every single day, and I think they'll probably have worked a little bit in terms of the two central defenders are not normally the starting central defenders, so they've probably had more playing time together in training, and I think it's probably getting into the game early, settling in. He's so quality with his feet and he'll be confident in that in terms of his playing out, but we've also shown that he came on in a pressure game against Crystal Palace and there was probably no difference in terms of Kelleher being off the pitch or Alisson.
I think what impressed me about when he came on at Palace was the level of trust that the lads seemed to have in him. You know, there was no worry about everyone. They weren't sneaking around saying, let's keep the ball away from him. It was like he came on, they were high-fiving him, there was a level of trust there, and that's what was impressive for me, and he performed admirably.
One of the, I think the points we're seeing from a few little areas there of that substitute appearance is how similar he is, I guess, to Alisson in Kelleher, and that he races off his line. You see that 2 or 3 times in those clips there, that he wants to be the same as the two boys above him, that he's not going to stand there on his 6-yard box frightened to come out.
Yeah, I think there has to be a level of clarity and expectation from the position that you're playing in, so that when situations do happen like this in terms of goalkeepers coming in, you don't have to change the way that you're playing or adapt to the players that are around you. I think it's a natural kind of shift in the players that are coming in seamlessly, and I think they'll obviously have an identity and what they expect from the goalkeepers, and he's got 2 world-class goalkeepers ahead of him that he can learn from and train with every day, so he'll see that.
Bound to rub off, isn't he?
Yeah.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
How important is communication for a goalkeeper, particularly to his 2 centre-halves?
Oh, absolutely vital. I think especially with, if Welbeck does play, in terms of his movement in and around the box, and you always have to have that constant line of communication, whether it's set pieces, but you have to be dominant in and around the 18-yard box, and look, I'm sure he is, because he wouldn't be trusted to play if he wasn't. So yeah, it's an exciting opportunity for him. I think it's probably quite clever maybe from Slot in terms of the Alisson injury situation, and if anything was to happen to Kelleher, he's got the experience, he's got the game time of starting a game tonight, so it'll be a good experience for him, but I'm sure it'll be a seamless game.
As we said, there would have been a few chomping at the bit to have a game in the last couple of weeks, and we've seen that actually there's been a real desire for Arne Slot to use Connor Bradley, who we can see there that a little injury probably hasn't helped him, but he's been used as a substitute, particularly to come on for Trent at certain times, but he will be desperate to give it the full 90 later.
Well, they've been trying to get as many minutes into him as possible. Difficult when you've got probably one of the world's best right backs in front of you, but I'm looking forward to seeing his performance today. He's got huge potential, and I'm excited to watch him. As I'm excited to watch Tyler Morton as well. I think he's an exceptional talent.
OK, if you're watching us on social media, you are about to leave us. For full details of how to sign up to LFC TV, all you need to do is go to liverpoolfc.com/watch. Let's just point you in the direction of what is happening for the rest of the evening and beyond. Plenty more build-up to come before a 7:30 kick-off down at the Amex. We will hear from Jarell Kwanzaa between now and then. Full audio commentary from 7:30 and then reaction from down at the Amex and here in the studio from 9:30. You'll be able to hear that reaction too in the podcast, available from wherever you get your podcast, and then the full game available from midnight tonight on LFC TV. Then all of the behind-the-scenes access from down on the South Coast available on Facebook and YouTube from midnight tomorrow. So it is just the third time that Liverpool and Brighton have met in the League Cup. The last time, the 2011-12 season, Liverpool won that night and went on to lift the trophy under Sir Kenny Dalglish. Let's hope that that is a lucky omen for this campaign. More build-up to come in just a couple of minutes' time.